Welcome to the Holistic Life Podcast, where the wisdom of the Word of God lights our path to mind, body, soul, and spirit wellness. Each episode, we delve into living a life that's not just healthy, but wholly aligned with spiritual principles, exploring the intersection of faith and well-being. Join us as we uncover divine guidance for wellness, meditation, and harmony in life, taking this journey on living fully in His grace. Your transformation, grounded in faith and understanding, starts now. Good day, good day, good day. I want to welcome you to the Holistic Life Podcast. I am your host, Shelby Frederick, also known as Lady Jules, and we are so excited to have with us today a special guest. Our topic today is addiction to freedom. This is Christina Cloud's inspiring journey, and we're going to sit down with her. She is the remarkable author of My Love Letter to Alcohol. She is a school administrator. She is a musician. She's a chemical dependency counselor, and she's going to be sharing her deep personal story of overcoming addiction and how her unwavering faith has been the cornerstone of her deliverance and her healing. She's also going to be discussing about her mission to empower others through education, music, through her company SOB for You LLC, which is her organization that is dedicated to recovery. So I want you to get ready to tune in to this conversation about faith, hope, and the transformative power of love and hard work. So welcome, my friend Christina. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here, Sister Shelby. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
Thank you.
yes. When I just, just to tell just a little bit of our connection. We both, raised in the Church of God in Christ and have been a part of the same circles, and watching you go through your journey of where you were to where you are today, we know that there is a God and that there
Yes,
is a Savior named
yes,
Jesus
ma'am.
Christ who delivers. And so just again, I kind of, gave an overview of who you are, but I just want to jump right into your story and your journey, because I believe that it is going to touch the hearts of our listeners on today. And so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to tell this story, to write this My Love Letter to Alcohol, and what message is it that you hope for your readers to take away from
Well,
your
well,
book?
listen, Shelby. What inspired me to write the book was I already knew kind of like after once I went through my journey, and my journey looked a little something like this. I
Mhm.
dealt with alcoholism, and found myself dealing with alcoholism. I can't even really start to tell you really where it started, how it happened. I do know that genetically and through family bloodline, I dealt with it. So far as this has been something that was dealings in my family on my
Mhm.
biological father's side.
Mhm.
But not only that, but just as the young people say nowadays, lifestyle lifing.
Come on
and
here.
uh
Yes,
and
yes.
so just begin to go through my own life, my own journey, my own experiences. I found myself in the midst of, because of you mentioned how we were raised and being brought up in the church, played a major role, a little bit into why I think I found myself diving a little bit deeper into that, because of worry, the worry of people, the
Mm.
worry of the judgment. the worry of how people looked at me. I was being a musician. I played drums. Being a female drummer,
Mm-hmm.
playing across not only the city, the state, but just the United States. I've been out of this country playing drums, and having that limelight of people looking at me as a female drummer, and being halfway decent at what I did and enjoying what I did. That brought about a little extra oomph to it, and so people
Mm-hmm.
looked at me at another standard, for lack of
Mm-hmm.
better words. And so I think it played a part when I started struggling. Even the things that I thought about, the things that I wanted to hide,
Mm-hmm.
my triggers, the things that I struggled with, even with becoming of learning who I was as an
Come on.
individual, my personal experience, and who I was, and struggling and battling with that, and the way the church looks at certain things, and what some people deem to be sins, or not healthy, or not whole, or unrighteous, or this and that and the
Mm-hmm.
other, played a vital part in how I felt. Not only that, my mother being a pastor
Come
right here in
on.
the city of Cleveland, being a woman pastor on top of that, something that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too always embraced by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, worrying about how people would look at my mother once they
Mm-hmm.
figured out what I struggled with, and
Mm-hmm.
my mishaps, and all that kind of stuff. And so I began to dive into alcohol as a form of a numbing mechanism,
Come
um,
on.
to just to kind of flush out the thoughts, flush out the
Mm-hmm.
feelings, and all that kind of stuff. And so, with that being said, I struggled with it during 2000, around 19. I want to say 2019. I want to say I started kind of my health kind of started declining a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
had a hard time with walking and functioning and different things. And so my family found me in the nick of time, and we went to they put me in rehab, went through rehab, but COVID was happening. And so the
Yeah.
rehabilitation center that I was in, people at that time, because COVID was so new, brand new, nobody wanted to touch me. So I was dealing with that. Nobody wanted to they couldn't take me to the gym to be able to get
Wow.
myself physically back to where I needed to be. So I
Mm-hmm.
struggled with all of that. Never really bounced back, and
Mm-hmm.
wholly. Went and stayed with my mom for a while, but in the process, the bills began to start climbing, and
Come
just
on.
things start. So there was life again. There's
Mm-hmm.
another part of life that just kept there was I'm facing it, but it was a struggle. And so, and couldn't find my way out, basically. And so I
Mm-hmm.
began to drink myself into a deeper hole. And in September 20th of 2022, my sister found me where I was. My younger sister, Ashley, found me. My
Yeah.
family became concerned, very
Mm-hmm.
concerned about, because everything started changing. Things, my
Mm-hmm.
habits, and how I was, the person who I really was, started kind of changing, and my attitude and all that kind of stuff. Just things were being affected, and my family became very, very concerned. And
Mm-hmm.
my baby sister Ashley, came, and she found me where I was. Her and my god sister, and they found themselves, not I won't say breaking in, but they found themselves getting to me.
Yeah.
And once my sister said, all I remember is my sister saying to me, she said, "Christina, do you want to go to the hospital?" And I
Mm-hmm.
looked at her with tears in my eyes, and I told her yes, and that's all I
Mm.
remember. The next thing
Wow.
I remember waking up, and my mother remember waking up, and I'm hearing a voice of a woman in prayer, and it was a familiar voice, and it was my
Mm-hmm.
mama. And
Mm.
my mom was, I heard my mom praying. And then my mom
Mm.
asked me, she said, "Christina," she said, "do you know where you are?" And
Mm.
I said, I looked down, and I saw myself, I saw a road, and I knew I was at the clinic, the Cleveland clinic. And sorry.
No,
um,
come on.
but yeah,
Listen.
but we
Yeah.
my mom said, "Do you know where you are?" And I said, "I'm in the hospital." She said, "Yeah." She said, "Do you know how long you've been here?" And I said, "No." She said, "Christina, you've been in here 3 months." And I looked
Jesus.
at her, and I said, "Wait, what?" And she said, "Yeah, you've been in here 3 months." And all I remember was dreaming. the whole time, to find out
Wow.
that I had been unresponsive and in a coma for 3 months.
Come
That
on here.
I found out that when my sister and them got me there, the doctors told my family that had they not gotten me there right when they got me there, I would have died. So with
Mm,
that journey,
mhm,
going through all of that, I once I got out of being unresponsive, had a lot of different health issues going on. Could not walk, could barely talk, couldn't write, couldn't really read real good. They were really trying to help me out, and couldn't really remember. My brain
mhm.
activity was kind of all over the place. They were expecting for me to have seizures, but I never once seized. And
Come
so
on here.
they knew that probably would be the one thing that would take me out if I did. And
Mm,
so they
mhm,
told me that when I got out of a coma, that they told my mom, they said if she lives, and they said that basically that's a strong if, but they said if she lives, she'll basically be nothing but really a vegetable. Said that my brain activity would not be normal ever again and all that good stuff.
mm.
And they began to basically give my mom the worst prognosis of what I should look like, or where things should be. But
Come
I will
on.
say that God allowed everything that they tried to say about me did not be so.
Come on
I
here.
was supposed to have I was supposed to have two transplants. I was supposed to have a liver transplant and a kidney transplant because I had laid there so long that my body began to retain water. And on top of that, with my liver, with me having cirrhosis of the liver and alcohol poisoning, that I was supposed to have these transplants. And as time went on, I went through rehab and I did everything they told me to do. They said, Christina, you go, if you do this, we'll put you on the transplant list. And I did everything they asked me to do into the classes. I did everything they told me to do. My mama pushed me. She had to push me, make me go to some stuff. Um,
Mhm,
but I did it. And when I did it, one day I got a call. I drove to Columbus, was supposed to, but
mm.
I drove to Columbus to be with my sister, to be with my family, because I've been away from them for so long. And all I
Yes.
wanted to do was just be with my family. I cared less about nobody else.
Right.
But I went down there and my sister ran downstairs. She said, Christina, something they trying to call you. The hospital's trying to call you. Mommy trying to call you. And I called, and there was the liver coordinator. She said, Christina, I have good news and I have bad news. She said, the good news, she said, the bad. She said, which one you want? I said, I don't care at this point. Just tell me. She said, well, the bad news is, she said, I will never, she said, this is my last day talking to you. She said, we have to dismiss you from our program. And I thought it was bad news. And she said, Christine, she said, but the good news is, she said, the doctor sat here and he was just baffled because he said that your numbers had went back to normal. And he said your liver and your kidneys had restored itself back to normal as if like it's never been touched with alcohol a day in his life. And
Come
so,
on.
with that being said, I realized that I was a walking miracle at that
Come
point.
on here.
And
Yes, you
I
are.
realized that I needed to share my story. And
Yes.
so it was already in me at that point that I knew that it was in me to write a book. That came without saying. I mean, that was a no-brainer to be
Mhm.
able to share my story, because how dare I allow God to
Come on.
do and work a wondrous work in my life and not tell the world. And so with
Come
that being
on.
said, I I started writing, and then I kind of have what having what you call the brain freeze,
Mm.
and a book, authors, freezes, or whatever, however you want to call it.
Mhm.
and
Right. Writer's
and
block.
yeah, writer's block,
Yeah.
that's it. And so I began to and so I didn't know what I was going to. I had people saying, you should write about this, and you should write about that. And then people were telling me the stuff that you dreamed about. I had some dreams, and I
Mhm.
won't share. I know my sister would love to be on this conversation
Right.
to say some stuff. She got stories, but
Yeah.
her and my mama, they people were telling me, you should write about that, and this experience. And I one day I went and I was taking a shower, and for some reason I'm one of those shower takers that just I'm in and out, because
Mhm.
I'm always rushing. And this particular day I was in the shower and I just allowed the water to hit me, and I found myself in meditation. And all
Mm.
I heard was God speaking to me and saying, my love letter to alcohol. And
My
so,
God.
with that being said, it began after I got out of the shower. Um, writing became so easy. It just began to
Mhm.
flow,
Mm.
because then I was able to release myself through being therapeutic as with being therapeutic as well, to
Yes.
be able to share with my adversary or with my demon or the
Mhm.
thing that had me bound, to be able to
Mhm.
talk to it and
Come
to be
on.
able to confront that demon, to be able to
Mhm.
to face it head on, and to be able to
Mhm.
say, listen, this is what you did to me. This
Mhm.
is the effect that you had on me. But I
Mhm.
refuse to allow you to continue with this relationship that we had. And
Come
so, with
on.
that being said, that's how my love letter to alcohol was birthed.
Wow. Wow.
and
Wow.
and
Wow.
it's more a little bit more to it, but that's basically
Yeah.
the overall gist of of my journey.
Wow. My God. I mean, like there are some parts of your story that I know because I had been in prayer with your mom and with Ashley, during this time. And I, to see you, it is a miracle. You are a miracle, like a walking, living, breathing, moving miracle of God. And to
Yes.
see what he's doing in your life is just amazing. It's so amazing. I want to ask you, we grew up in the church, how has your faith, what role did faith play in your journey of your healing and deliverance?
I think faith, it wasn't even so much of I don't even think it was at while I was experiencing the journey, I don't even think it was my faith. I really believe that it
Mm.
was the faith of others. Um,
Mm.
the saints got together and they prayed. I remember
Mhm.
my friend Brian Golden. I know you know Brian
Mhm.
Golden and his
Yes,
brother
yes.
Steve. I remember they went. My mom was telling me I was unresponsive when they went, and her Ashley went to a service at our home church, St. Robert
Mhm.
Temple Church of God in Christ, where Pastor Willis is the
Mhm.
pastor, and and Pastor Willis called my so the story that I was told a little bit, they were just giving me bits and pieces, but they told me that I guess Pastor Willis saw my mom and my sister, and everybody knew about what was going on. And at the time, he worked at the clinic as well, so he kind of had a gist of what was going on. And my family, some of my family members still go there, my aunt and cousins and them,
Mhm.
and um and so they called my sister and my mom up, and they began to pray on my behalf. And
Come
so, if
on.
nothing else, it wasn't so much of anything, not no goodness of my own, and maybe
Mhm.
not even not
Mhm.
of any of goodness of their own,
Mm.
but the fact that God's hand was completely on my life. And that
Mhm.
God said, I mean, it was just as if like he was saying, I never left you.
Yeah,
I was
and he didn't.
always there. And God
Yes.
answered the prayers of the people that had the faith enough to believe that
My
God would
God.
bring me through. And so, if
Mm,
nothing else, it
mhm.
wasn't so much of that I can go by my faith through the journey
Mhm.
of it, because I had at some point I had gotten to where I was because I had lost faith, um,
Mm.
or whatever. But I will say this: it says it's a scripture in the Bible. It says, Lord, I believe. He said, but help my unbelief. And so
Yeah.
sometimes we're born and raised where we believe stuff and we know stuff, kind of like, yeah, I go to church and I know I'm a Christian. I know Jesus died on the cross for my sins, and all that stuff. We know the
Mhm.
basics of it,
Mhm.
but when it really comes down to really relationship wise and having our
Mhm.
own personal experience and our own personal relationship, is like as we grow older, we can no longer lean on mom and daddy's faith. We
Come
can no
on.
longer lean on grandma and pastor's faith and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That we have to learn how to lean and depend on and have our own faith and embrace the faith that's been given to us and the
Mhm.
relationship that we have with God. And so, with that being said, my faith was built off of the miraculous work that God had done. I'll be
Come on.
stupid enough to sit here and act as if like what God did for me didn't play a major role or played a part in my faith.
Mhm.
And with me, my faith building in that way was a spark for me to be able to continue my journey in sobriety.
Yes. Come on.
To know that if God had did it for me, how dare I turn my back on him, and how dare I do anything um, um, to operate in things that were not like him, or to
Mm-hmm.
operate in things that would diminish what he had done. And so I
Yeah.
refused that, you know, I was going to be the one to come back and not only say thank you, but I was
Mm-hmm.
also going to allow my faith to be able to help others build their faith and to
Mm-hmm.
embrace hope. That if God can do it for me, he definitely
Mm-hmm.
can do it for you. And that's where I am today, with my
Wow.
journey with faith. Faith being
Yeah.
a pivotal,
Mm-hmm.
a thing, a major role in my journey and my walk. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That is so good and so true, because the Bible talks about also, the prayers of the righteous
Yes.
availeth much and has great power. And so oftentimes, and as you were talking, I was the thought crossed my mind about how your faith was building so much to the point now that that's the faith that you operating in now, in sharing your
Mhm.
story, that
Yes.
what you did not have, or the little that you had,
Mhm.
is now really that catalyst, that really now what someone did for you, now you're able to do that for others. Man,
Mhm. Yeah.
that's so powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I want to shift the story a little bit, or the
Mhm.
conversation, to ask you about the work that you do. Tell us about your company, your business that you have is SOB for you.
So so
What is all
SOB.
about?
Yeah,
Yes.
SOB for you is really is just it's just a soap for you.
Oh,
And it's basically sobriety, like you know, so it's short for sobriety. And
gotcha. Okay.
to be that I'm a living being of sobriety for others, and that
Mm-hmm.
here I am being a witness for others. Here I am being an example
Mm-hmm.
for others. And that even when I got it on my license plate, it started off on my license plate,
Uh-huh.
that even on my license plate, that I'm able to tell drivers that I'm sold for you. It's so many people that's out here drinking and driving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I want people to know, hey, while we're on this road, you can trust
Mm-hmm.
me that
Yeah.
I'm sober for you. Like, you may not be
Yes.
sober, but I'm a driver. I'm not only driving for myself, but I'm driving.
Uh-huh. Yes.
so
Yes.
so no so and so with that being said, the company is it was designed, first of all, to number one, to be able to get into places that I wouldn't be able to get into with just my name,
Gotcha.
with just my name alone, especially like even with my job,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because double dipping and all that kind of stuff, but being
Yeah.
able to do professional developments and different things, speaking to others that struggle with the same thing, as well as even to be able to talk to students.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with me being a chemical dependency counselor. I was able, God bless me, that while I was waiting for me to go back to work to my regular job, which I was blessed to go back, I got a part-time job, two part-time jobs, and one was at a recovery sober facility, one for the LGBTQ transgender facility, and then there
Mm-hmm.
was another one that I worked for that was for adolescents. And that's when
Wow.
I realized how young people individuals start with
Mm-hmm.
depending on chemical dependency, have chemical dependency problems and issues. And so it also sparked where I was like, where I work now, it makes sense. I started seeing different things. I was like, now, oh my goodness, it makes sense. I
Mm-hmm.
started seeing with different families. Now it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, something is small, and people may, you know, think it's funny, and I do too, some at points. But it's funny now that I don't drink. I can smell liquor a mile away.
Oh, absolutely.
where
Absolutely.
where before where before I could not, you know what I'm saying? I was like, they drink. I guess because it was so much in my system and in my pores or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so now I have this, you know, thing like, did I smell like that?
Yeah.
And if anybody knows me, I take pride in how I, you know,
Right.
in my presence and on how I smell. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh my God, yeah, I smell like that. So no, but for real, yeah. So now I'm able to smell it. So now sometimes it's a pure indication immediately who
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with and how I'm able not to judge anybody
Right.
um, for what's going on. To be a little, but to be, it helps me to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to be for me to be very intentional about how I approach
Mm-hmm.
them, because certain things that you can say, and certain
Mm-hmm.
ways you can look,
Mm-hmm.
certain ways you can act can be triggers
Right.
for people. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I don't want to do is ever be anyone's stumbling block or
Mm-hmm.
be a part of anybody's triggers or anything that will make them want to go back or go further into the deep end of where they already are. They're already
Right.
struggling. They're already hurting. They're
Mm-hmm.
already numbing. They don't need no extra added. I don't, I tell people be, make statements to people. I'm very disappointed in you and different things like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like, you have to watch what you say. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I understand these roles. Now God has allowed me now to show empathy
Yes.
towards people now
Mm-hmm.
that struggle with these addictions and different things like that. And so yeah, it's just a wide variety. But that's
Yeah.
what Soul for You is. And so my intended goal with Soul for You LLC is to here in the near future is to open up my own sober home called
Okay.
Soul for
Come
You.
on. All
And so
right.
yes, and so and for that place to be a place of safety, a healthy space,
Mm-hmm.
a place of where they can people can grab hold to normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that people struggle with is that they get back out there and they can't see no normality. They can't see anything being normal again, and so they go back. They struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see a way. They don't see the light. They don't see light at the end of the tunnel. And so
Yeah.
that's that's my prayer. My prayer, my hope for this home, for everything that I do, every endeavor that we decide to make when it comes to the book, and when it comes to the
Mm-hmm.
home, when it comes to our life, when it comes to everything that we talk and we speak. Even with interviews and everything, to be
Yes.
able to just help people to have hope. I tell people that
Mhm.
my book is not an antidote for anybody's problems, but
Right.
it's a help aid. It's a book of inspiration. It's a book of motivation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a book of allowing people to embrace faith and see hope and grasp hope to the concept of hope. To know, man, there's a bright side somewhere.
Come on. Yes. I so love that. There are there's something I want to uh kind of backtrack to, and this goes to when you talk about us understanding genetics, and if we have certain genetics. I know that I've learned this, and we teach this in our counseling courses, but there are some uh, groups of people that are predisposed genetically to alcohol
Hmm.
and to alcoholism, put it like that.
Hmm.
And I believe that this is a greater conversation that we need to have among Black and Browns, among Native Americans, and a few others, because genetically we are missing. We call them EFAs, essential fatty acids, which predisposes us. And I
Hmm.
believe that because we don't have the information on it, um, will your company, like with your home that you are going to open,
Yeah.
like we're gonna put it on out there that you
Yes,
are
ma'am.
going
Yes,
to
ma'am.
open.
Yes.
Um, are you going to consider that type of education for our Black and our brown, or we call it BIPOC, uh, people of color? I believe that that is something that would be very, very beneficial. Have you considered that?
Yes, I have. Not only that, I also realize that in our community, and in our culture, I also know that the history of our culture and everything is that we've kept things we have so many secrets.
Yes. Yeah.
We have
Way
so
too
many
many.
family dynamic secrets that it's ridiculous. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, a lot of times, that's one of the biggest secrets, is of the struggle, or how different people have passed away and died, or the struggles, or why grandpa was beating on grandma, or
Mm-hmm.
why grandpa or them, or grandma and them was abusive, or verbally abusive to mama and daddy, or why they experience
Mm-hmm.
the things, or why do they do that to me, or
Mm-hmm.
those different cycles,
Mm-hmm.
those vicious cycles that continue
Yes.
to happen in our families. And
Mm-hmm.
we tend to hide it and tuck it up under, and act as if like it's not going on, or to act like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times, and more often, I really believe that if people know where they come from, they'll understand where they're going. And
Yeah.
so, if I knew, if somebody really said, I saw the signs, I did,
Mm-hmm.
I saw the sign, but I didn't know how to digest it
Mm-hmm.
because I was a child. So I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
mature enough to really digest it. And by the time I really realized or digested it, I was grown. And then I'm right there at the door, I'm kissing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, with that being said, if it really had been a conversation where somebody actually would have opened up their mouth and said it to me, like, open up,
Mm-hmm.
daddy, this and that, you know what I'm saying? Your daddy struggle with
Yes.
this, your mama struggle with this, your grandpa struggle with this, your grandma struggle.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody would have actually had those conversations when I found myself doing what I was doing, or that first
Mm-hmm.
sip, maybe I would have never had that first sip,
Come on.
because maybe I would have been
Definitely.
a little bit more aware or conscious of the fact
Mm-hmm.
that, because it may be in my genetics, or it might be in my bloodline, that
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm not far from it.
Yes.
I'm a snap away from it. I'm a blink
Yes.
away from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a
Right.
dream away from it. I'm a drink
Yes.
away from it.
Come
And
on. Come
so,
on.
um, with that being said, it's like, so if we get away from that, what goes on in my home stay at my home, or what, that
Yes.
people can't get the help that they really need. And I'm not trying
Mm-hmm.
to say go out and blast your business all over the place,
Right.
because, yeah,
Right.
everybody around here want to have tea to sip on. So,
Right.
that was one of the reasons why I found myself getting deeper and
Mm-hmm.
deeper involved, because I wanted to hide in secret, and I ran from the stigmatism, or people saying what they wanted to, say, or
Right.
doing what they wanted to do, or not even so much that, even if when somebody did say something to me or whatever, that they said it, and I was just like, with the way they said it, just to say I was an alcoholic, I was like, not I know, I'm a
Right.
drummer.
Right.
I'm a child of God. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yes.
no, you
Uh-huh.
won't. And
Uh-huh.
it's like,
Yes.
and so one of the things that I really do, my prayer is not only that soul for you, when it comes to the home, will help open up those doors, or those floodgates, to be able to have dialogue and conversation and healthy relationships and healthy conversations, but that also that churches and ministries will
Come on.
tap into it, and say, hey, you know what it's like to be to struggle with your salvation, or not to struggle with my salvation, but to struggle with faith, or to
Mm-hmm.
find yourself in a tug of war with you,
Mm-hmm.
and life, and death, and or what's right and what's wrong, or what my flesh wants, opposed to what my spirit needs, and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. And so, it goes further, more than just the actual home, but being able to get this word, and to be able to help people in the workplaces, at churches. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people be doing stuff, and we be like, "What's wrong with you? You all right?"
Mm-hmm.
And real talk is, they be no, there's everything's not all right.
Right.
There's
Correct.
something's wrong, and because you don't and just because you don't deal with it doesn't mean it's not a problem.
Come on. Say it.
A lot of people, we inherit a lot of things in our ministries or in workplaces, because somebody had to go through it, and we become reactive instead of being
Mm-hmm.
proactive. And so that's
Oh,
my that's
yes.
my that's my heart's desire, is that we be now realizing just how serious this is. And the reason why I can say that is because I get emails, I get
Mhm.
inboxes, I get text
Come on.
messages, I get
Mhm.
calls, I get
Mhm.
things that of people saying, Chris, I can't believe you talking like this, man. This is helping
Mhm.
me. Keep
Yeah.
saying what you're saying. Keep doing what you're doing. You're encouraging me. I've been struggling
Yes.
for this many years, or I've been trying. I have people that's been on this journey with me that started off. I had somebody just called me the other day, said, "Man, maybe you didn't know that it wasn't. It wasn't even a New Year's resolution, but I've been 19 days sober, and
Come
then
on.
and I was able to push them and be able to say, you can make it. We can do this. We in this
Yes.
together. We in this together. You ain't just
Yes.
you ain't alone." And the one thing that I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna shut up talking so much,
No.
but
Yeah.
the one thing that addiction does, it makes you feel like you're on an island all by yourself,
Yep.
and it makes you feel as if like you're the only one struggling with it, or you're the only one going through it. And when I first got out of rehab and I went to a concert one night, this guy named Bishop Stephen Gully, he's like an uncle to me. He came up to me and he said, Christina, he called me Sistina. He said, Sistina, he said, I want you to know I'm proud of you. He said, but I also want you to know, he said, you're not the first one to go through this.
Come
He
on.
said, you're not the only one to go through this. And he
Mhm.
said, and sadly, you're not the last one to go through this.
Mhm.
So for me, Shelby, this is a movement. This is not just
Yeah.
a fly by night thing. This is a movement, because if I die whenever the Lord sees fit to take me, is that I want to know that this thing will linger on, that my family will go forth in this, that my
Yeah.
nieces and my nephew,
Yeah.
they saw what they auntie struggled with, and I
Mhm.
want them to know it's okay to talk about it.
Come
It's
on.
okay to help somebody else. It's okay to
Yes.
see the signs and know what you saw, what auntie did, what auntie went through, and to be able to say, man, I don't want you to go through the same thing my auntie went through. And so
Yeah.
that's my prayer, that's my hope, and that's my heart, is that I don't
Mhm.
want others to struggle with what I struggle with. I don't want nobody, I wouldn't willing on my worst enemy, if I had one, to
My
go
God.
through the things that I went through. And so here I am standing here saying, I want to save lives. I want to help save lives, whether it's one
Mhm.
life at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time, whatever that looks like. And I say, listen, when people go off saying where I should be in life, or who I should minister to,
Mhm.
or who I
Come on.
shouldn't minister to, or what
Mm-mm.
places I should go into and what places I shouldn't go into, here's my thing. My thing is, my response will be to God is, Lord, here am I. Send me. I'll
Come
go.
on.
Send me.
Yes,
I'll go.
yes, yes. And that becomes so very important because when you talk about and you think about the ability, the Great Commission is about us going.
Yeah.
If we don't go,
Yeah.
how will they know?
Yeah. They won't.
And so we can't get caught up in, uh, like who gets to decide who we gonna minister to.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, we go wherever he sends us to go. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter who you serving. It don't matter if you not serving. You can be an atheist. It don't
Hmm.
matter whether you are um you already know. And I
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Trust me. I'm there. I'm all the way there. I just want people, like, man, you should make you everybody want to put titles on things. I'm not into all of that. I just
yeah.
want people to grasp hold to the message, to know that
Mhm.
they can live. And there's
Mhm.
life. There's more to life than that. You don't have to go to every party and drink. You know
Come on.
that's not the party. You know what
Come
I'm
on.
saying? That's not
Mhm.
the life of the party. You can be the life of the party and not the joke of the party.
Oh, come on here now.
Because
Wait a minute.
oftentimes that's what people do when they know you get all turned up and liquored up, all that, and get high and all that kind of stuff. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, they know.
Mhm.
Oh, we gonna bring Chris to the party, because then now she got that liquid courage to say and do whatever,
Mhm.
and she gonna
Right.
clown and she gonna give us a good time, and we're gonna talk about her, and nobody's gonna care about whether or not she made it home safe or not, or whatever. But then
Come
we
on and
going
talk.
and don't let me slip up and do something that everybody really didn't like. Then
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
gonna think about, we gonna have a conversation whether we're gonna invite her to the next party or not. And,
Mm.
and, and so People don't look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? But I
Mm-hmm.
want people to know, man, it's more to life than that. You don't have to celebrate with alcohol. You don't have to celebrate with drugs. You don't have to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a celebration. That is not always a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
You can get you some water. You know, I found out
Listen,
for water to be my best friend.
come on
You know,
here.
I make my own little now. I know how to make my little diet pops and add little stuff to it and
Mm-hmm.
do little stuff, you know, just to keep the, you know, the action going, to, you know, just for something different. What my point is just that I've realized I love where the place that I'm in
Mm.
now. And not
Yeah.
only that, but I'm able to remember everything.
Come
I'm able
on.
to remember. And from before, I would go to places, I wake up in the morning and panic because I'd be like, oh God, what did I do? Oh, where's my
Mm.
money? Where's, oh,
Mm.
I thought I had a 50. Oh no, where's this? Oh,
Mm.
did I call that person? What did I say when I did? And all
Talk
that type
about
of
it.
stuff. I no longer have to live life like that no
Come
more,
on.
because now I remember my life is clear, my pathway is clear, my hands are clean, and I have a pure heart.
Come on here. That's what I'm talking about. I have not had a sip of alcohol since my daughter was about 5 months old, and
Mm-hmm.
she will be 30 in April. I just had no desire, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And people will say, well, why don't you drink? Because I used to drink when I was in the military, when I was in my
Shelby.
back, when I was in my backslidden state. Yes, Elder Morgan's daughter. Yes, the apostle used to drink.
That's funny.
But listen, I have no, like, who wants to be hungover?
Yeah.
Who wants to not be able to remember?
Mm,
That's just not something that I desire. Like, I don't need to do that and engage in those activities in order to have a good time. I like to be sober where I can see everything.
yeah.
And so I'm going to always be the one, the people do what they do, and hey, God bless you.
Yeah.
Do what you do, but
Yeah.
I don't allow people to persuade me to where I feel like that I have to do that in order to have a good time, because
Yeah.
because I don't. I've been there and done that. That doesn't excite me. It
Mm,
doesn't do anything for me. I have no desire for that. And
yeah.
so, I will be the one that's gonna always have some water. We toasting? Okay, well, let me get
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
And
get let
and
me
and,
get
and,
some
and,
water.
and Shelby, I want people to know. Listen, it ain't the easiest road. It is
Oh,
hard. This way, But and for me, Shelby, I'm gonna tell you something, man. My former pastor, Pastor James Willis, said it. He preached a message. I had got out of rehab and I went to his church that Sunday, and he was
mhm.
supposed to preach one thing, and he wound up preaching. He saw me. The church saw me there, and he next thing you know, his message just changed, and he preached a message, and the message was, "It was good that I was afflicted."
My God.
And so sometimes for some people, and for me, it took this experience and it took this journey that I had to
Mhm,
go for me to get where I am today. It wasn't
mhm.
easy. It's still not easy,
Right.
but I made a conscious decision. I'm not triggered by it. I don't have desires for it. Sometimes I often think, man, what if I would have did X one, or maybe if I've been a little bit more responsible,
Mhm.
maybe I would have never been in this place where I had to learn how to walk all over again, because now my
Mm.
my walking is not the best. It's not where it used to be. I can't run like I used to. I can't jump and do things. I can't get on the floor like I want to like before. And there's different things that people don't even have no clue, because real talk is, I really don't look like what I've been through.
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and, and that's real talk. But I do have some things that that kind of bothers me, or whatever, that nobody will ever know.
Mhm.
One thing I tell people, and it's even in my book, I said he took the sting even out of my entire situation. He really
My
did. He took
God.
the
My
sting
God.
out of it, and I'm grateful for that. But
Yes.
then I had to check myself through all of that and say, but it was good. It was good that I
Mhm.
was afflicted, because it was good that I had to go through it this way, because had I not, I probably still would have kind of been dibbling and dabbling. I probably would have
Mhm.
been X, Y, and Z in it, and or trying to put a well, what if, or
Mhm.
maybe, or just let me try, or this. And this is no
Mhm.
longer an option for me. This is no
Right.
longer. This is no longer a conversation. In that matter. For
Mhm.
me, I am what you call true deliverance.
Come on.
And I'm excited about it. I'm not embarrassed. I had
Mhm.
to learn not to allow things to torment me. I used to,
Mhm.
sometimes I would sit when I first got out of rehab. I'd be like this, or I sit in the hospital. Sometimes I would cry, and
Mhm.
I would just think about something. I go, oh, because I would think about things that I did, or
Mhm.
where I was at that point in life. But God has allowed me to overcome all of that,
I love it.
and it took a little time, um,
Mhm.
but everybody don't see this. Everybody,
Mhm.
everybody don't get a chance to come back and tell their own story.
Come
Uh,
on.
and that's what God allowed me to do. God allowed me to be able to come back and share my own story. That way, nobody could add to it, and nobody
Mhm.
could take away from it. That I could be transparent. And when people read my book, my love letters to alcohol is not a long book or whatever, but it's straight to the point. And not only that, but it's very transparent. I show
Mhm.
pictures. Even on my website, you'll see a video collage of what me and my sister did, or whatever. And it's just amazing because people really don't think. They be like, they hear and some people, I may share my story with them. They're like, oh, okay. And then, but once they see them pictures, they be like,
Mhm.
oh, this is
Right.
real. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
my grandma used to always say, when we were growing up, my grandma used to say, y'all don't believe fat men greasy.
Right.
and, and so I went through
Yes.
life like that. Literally, like you
Uh-huh.
had to show me, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
that's what God did. He showed me. And so
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm like, yes, I'm a believer.
Yeah.
you, you ain't
I
got to show
love
me
it.
no more, God. I get it. I
Yes.
get the point. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And everybody has their different ways, and everybody goes through. Everybody's bodies are different, and
Mhm.
everybody has different ailments. Some people can take it. Some people's liver can take. I could drink you under a table, or
Mhm.
whatever. One thing a man did. The worst thing some man told me one day was like, "Man, you can't hold your liquor," and I was like, "What?" And
Right.
it was on and popping after that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
It was
Right.
like challenge, and it was one of
Mhm.
those, and I was like, and I just, lost my complete mind or
Mhm.
whatever. And so, some people, and then now he ain't got no problem. This dude, he probably drink as much as I ain't never had no problem, ain't never had no issue for some
Mhm.
reason. But when God has his hand on your life, sometimes he got to
Yes.
stop you right in your tracks before you go
Mhm.
way, because this right here could have been another way. This could have
Yes.
been in another form. We could have been
Mm.
talking about my funeral, or talking to,
My God.
or viewing my
Mhm.
homegoing service, or whatever the case may be. But now I'm here. I stand here. I'm a survivor. I'm
Yes.
alive. I'm alive
Yes.
because there's more. Is more in store. Is more to life. God has more. God has built and developed and birthed purpose for me, and I'm grateful, and I'm gonna walk through it. I have an assignment or
Yes.
whatever, and I plan on fulfilling that assignment. Come what
Mm.
will, come what may.
Yes, yes, I love it. Well, before I have you give your closing remarks, I'm going to pull up the book cover, and you can tell people where to get the book. I just want um to prophesy to your physical body a complete healing, that the work that he began in you
Yes,
will be completed, so that you can run and you can leap. You can do all of the things that you used to do, from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet,
yes, Lord.
to every cell that is in your body. We call it back to its original state
Yes, Lord.
and purpose,
Yes,
strength, so that you can continue on to carry out this message and this testimony that
yes,
brings so much glory, honor, and praise.
Yes.
to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I had to, I had to,
I
I had,
receive it.
I had to release that.
I
I had to
receive it.
release that. So
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
go ahead and bring you up. You're welcome. Go ahead and bring you up. And whoops, that's the wrong one. I want to bring you up here. There you go. So just go ahead and tell us about where we can get your book and give us some closing thoughts. Some closing thoughts.
So you can get my book. If you're here in the Cleveland area, Loganberry, that is Loganberry Bookstore, that is on Larchmere in the historical area of Larchmere Boulevard. They have my book. You can purchase it there. You can also purchase my book on Coventry at Max Backs Books store here in Cleveland, which is in Cleveland Heights on Coventry. Also, you can get a book from me if you're just right here in the city of Cleveland. And then also for those that are not where I am, or you just want to go offline, you can get it off of Amazon. You can also go to Barnes and Nobles, and you can also go to Ingram Sparks. And those websites and those links are right on my website, which is ChristinaLCloud.com. And that's Christina, all lowercase letters, ChristinaLCloud.com. And you can go right there, and it's a link that'll take you right to wherever you want to buy it from. Some of you already may have memberships to Amazon, to Barnes and Nobles, with Ingram Sparks, Kindle. You can get it off Kindle, Kindle books or whatever, Apple Books. It's so many different other forms that you can get it. There's a press release that came out, so you can Google my name, and it'll come up, and you can get it off of there to see where it'll show you links that you can go to. And so I would appreciate, let's get the word out. Let's spread the word. If you will help me to spread not only the miraculous journey that God has allowed me to overcome, but just show the miraculous wonders of God and in his works, and how he's still working miracles, and he's still making ways. And I want every person to know this. Everyone that's struggling with addiction, or the people that may either have already overcome or trying to overcome, or you're still fighting or whatever, I want you to know that we all have redeeming qualities, and it's up to us to tap into it and learn how to exercise and activate our redeeming qualities, and that no one can take that away from you, and that God can restore. God can bring about redemption in your life, restoration, and deliverance. And through faith and through hope, you can conquer anything. And so this is my love letter to alcohol. I'm recovered. I'm blessed, and this is my recovery, in whom I am well pleased.
Yes, yes. Come on here. I just love, 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 love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you so much just for agreeing to come and to share with our podcast listeners. This has been just a great conversation, and just hearing more about your story and your journey. And, I just was like, let me just, I don't know who's in my, sphere of influence, but I'm sure that this is going to bless somebody.
Yeah.
So why not have you come on here and to share of your story and what the Lord has done for you. But thank you so much for
Yeah.
agreeing. I'm going to go ahead and just do our closing for our podcast. And so I will meet you back in the backstage. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Well, well, well. I hope that you all have enjoyed this testimony, this conversation, and just learning more about Christina L. Cloud and my love letter to alcohol. What a phenomenal testimony that she has. You will see her website scrolling across the screen at the bottom, ChristinaLCloud.com. Go ahead and grab your book. If you are looking for a speaker, someone to come in and to do a workshop, whatever it may be, go ahead and hit her up at ChristinaLCloud.com. That is where you will find all of her information. And that is also where you can, most importantly, go ahead and grab her book. I am so grateful that you spent this time with us. We look forward to more interviews with some more guests that we have coming up. But I thank you for spending this time with us on today, and we will catch you on the airwaves. God bless. Thank you for joining us on the Holistic Life Podcast, where our foundation is the Word of God and our path is wellness in His life. We hope today's episode enriches your journey to a life of health and spiritual fulfillment. Remember, each step toward holistic living is a step closer to embodying His teachings. For continued inspiration, follow our journey. Until next time, embrace your faith, nurture your entire being, and watch your life bloom in His glory. We'll catch you on the airways. Be blessed.